Good evening, everybody. I'll be brief. There are times in life where something happens to us, and when it happens, we don't realize that we will never forget it for the rest of our lives. For those of you that were in New York on 9/11, it happens, and we'll always remember our whole lives exactly where we were on 9/11. When you get the call that it's time to go to the hospital with your wife for the first time to have a baby. When you hear good things that happen in your life, simchas, or God forbid tragedies, it happens to us. An event hits, and it's forever imprinted in your mind. What I want to talk about today is just going to give a story or two and call it a day. I want to talk about one time in my life where this happened, and I have never forgotten since. I was in college, Queens College, and it was May. And anyone who goes to college, you know that in May, it is jammed. Everyone's studying for finals. And they had this beautiful new library, and in the library were hundreds of students studying for finals. You couldn't find a spot. People sitting on the floors, study groups. Everywhere you looked was jam-packed with students from all over. And in the middle of the area must have been tables, and there was an open space. And right at the corner, right at the front of the open space, was an African-American kid. And he was talking to his friend. They were a girl. They must have been studying something. And all of a sudden, he started to convulge. He started seizing. And you got a picture, thousands of college kids, and this kid is just seizing and seizing, and all of a sudden, he stops, and like out of a movie, he just drops, literally in the center of the circle. And the place almost went insane. We didn't know what happened to him. He could have died. Who knew? And the librarian comes rushing through and goes, "Everybody relax. I called 911, it'll be okay." And you can picture thousands of kids. Just, what do you do? I mean, he could be dying. And I'm sitting in a study group with 3 frum guys and a guy who wasn't Jewish. And the guy picks up his phone, and I go, don't pick up the phone now, come on. I mean, everyone wants to stop. And he punches a couple numbers and says something on the phone, puts it away, and within a minute, 4 yarmulkes walk right in that room. Perfectly. One wearing, I'll never forget, white shirt, black pants, sticks out. One guy in khakis, different types of yarmulkes. 4 different Jews with yarmulkes walked right in that room. And within minutes, they had this kid stabled, and they had it all worked out, and they gave him what he needed, and they put him on a little stretcher. And everyone is silent, watching 4 yarmulkes helping another human being who is sick. And not realizing, the girl turns to him, to one of the yarmulkes, one of the guys on Hatzalah, and says, "Is he going to be okay?" And not realizing that no one in the whole room is talking now because everyone's focused on these 4 guys that just showed up out of nowhere and saved this kid's life from what we're seeing. And he said, "He's going to be just fine." And the entire room started to break out in some weird clap. And all of a sudden you saw people clapping and cheering, and these 4 guys from Hatzalah didn't know what to do with themselves. They were like, "This is what I do all day?" I don't know. And like everyone's cheering and clapping, and I was like, and they came through afterwards, they were done, and they had hand them off to the paramedics, and they'd walk through, and people like patting them on the back and saying, "Thank you so much," and shalom, like as if like we're connected now because I know a Hebrew word. And the whole gamut as they sort of walk on their way out. And as I watched them walk out, I said, I have never in my life experienced such a raw Kiddush Hashem. So as they walk out, the crowd now turns to me. I'm in a yarmulke, and I'm like, no, I'm later. I got my Superman cape in the back. No, those are my guys, but I got the night shift. And I sit back down, and my non-Jewish friend looks at me and goes, "Okay, what was that?" And I'm like, "It's complicated." He goes, no. When you're walking around in sneakers in the summertime fasting for another fast day, you tell me it's complicated, I'm cool. When you whisper to yourself every time you walk out of the bathroom, you say it's complicated, I get it. When the Jewish Superman walked through that room and saved some kid, I don't get it, I'm complicated. You better sit down and figure this out with me. So I said, "It's complicated." He goes, "I got time." So I said the following to him. I said, when I was younger, I'll never forget, I was on a program in 10th grade, going up, and it was a summer program, and we went up one morning to Masada. So we get off the bus, and there's a trolley waiting to take us up. And my counselor, my madrich, was a tzanchen. He was a paratrooper. So he looks at us and goes, all right, guys, who's climbing the mountain? And we're like, that mountain? Nobody. We're from America. What do you want from us? We're not climbing mountains. We're taking the trolley and make sure there's Poland Spring on the way up because it looks hot outside. So he goes, okay, who's man enough to climb the mountain? So once he does that, the whole game changes. Like, me, I'm totally going. So we climb up the mountain, I'm like coughing blood, getting upset in so many ways. So we get up to the top, and the trolley had slowed down. So it was just me, 3 of the guys, and this tzanchen, this paratrooper. So he looks at us as sunset was hitting in the most perfect scene. Sunset's rising over Masada. As he's telling us this, he goes, you know, this is how you end being a paratrooper, the last trip up. You come up to Masada. And they sit you down and they tell you the following. They say, you know, there's a period of time where the Jews had run from the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash all the way to Masada. And they were sitting there alone. And the Romans chased them. And they looked to the left and looked to the right, and there was no one there for them. And so as a group, they committed suicide. And there were some people left in Israel, but for the most part, our nation had no one to turn to. And he said, you guys are paratroopers. Because shenit matzada lo tipol, it doesn't fall again. Being a Jew in the post-Holocaust era means we kill for each other. We take care of each other. We sacrifice life and limb for each other because that's what it means to survive. We've learned the lesson. We're here for each other. And when you, my paratroopers, realize that, the whole world changes. And we have a strong nation, and we take care of our brothers along the world. So I turned to my friend and said, this is what it's like to be a modern day Jew. We care for each other. We kill for each other. And there are people out there that aren't ready to allow us to wait. If God forbid there's a need, we may lose people if we're not there right away. So we have our own type of Jewish soldier. They don't carry guns, although I'm sure they all want to. And the walkie-talkies are probably heavy enough. And there's a ton of keys, so I'm sure they can get guns if they want it. But at the end of the day, what we have in our midst, and we have to call it like we see it, we have Jewish soldiers. Because soldiers are willing to risk themselves for other people when it gets tough. When you're working all week like everybody else, and you come home and you're finally ready to sit down, you're exhausted. We all work so hard. And your wife says hello, and you see your kids, and the thing comes on the walkie-talkie that somebody needs help. And you're saying, oh, come on. And you pick yourself up and you keep on going. When it's Friday night, and finally you're with your kids, and everyone looks so nice, and you're sitting down, and finally, after all week, you have that little bit of menuchas hanefesh that we wait for from Motzei Shabbos, and you're sitting with your wife, and the call comes in. And she looks at you, and you look at her, and you go, I gotta go. Soldiers, risking life, time, for us. Why? Because we take care of each other. That's what it means to be a Jew in the postmodern era. The first person, group of people that need to be thanked are the people that let them go. Because every time you say, don't worry, I got the kids, go. Every time you say, I'll make sure dinner is warm when you come home, go. It's the wives. And so first and foremost, and when those wives look at them and say, do you have to? Really? Again? What the husband realizes is that what they're really saying is, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for going. Or at least that's what they think they're saying. That's what we tell ourselves they're saying. And you should know, to all the members out there, that we're all proud of you. We all, no matter what we say, when that Hatzalah van passes in the street with the lights on, we all say a kapitel for you too. And we all, when we see you running into shul late, because you came back from a call or so, you say. You didn't just wake up, of course not. And you're not driving around on Shabbos because you like to, it's real. Or because you can. When you come in shul, we're all saying, man, there's something about you when you walk in, it's something deep. There's something we all respect. There's something about the Hatzalah member that most people want to be but can't commit that level of dedication. always on, never stopping, to help people they don't even know. But here's their problem. And here's why we have fundraising dinners. Because there's one thing that Hatzalah has going against it, which is why it's hard to raise their budget. This Pesach, I had the zchus to spend in a program. And I'm sitting there, and we're in this big dining room, and a few tables down was an old Jewish woman sitting by herself. Does it get sadder? A Jewish bubby, alone, on Yantif. So my wife has this amazing ability within, literally, from getting online for the egg salad till finally getting the eggplant parmesan, she can become best friends with people. It's amazing. She knows how to do these things. I'm like, just let's get the food and eat. And she's like, well, I want to hear about their lives and this and that. Wonderful. God bless her. So within minutes, she's talking to her. And I know this is coming back to our table where I just want to eat more food because the Pesach program, what else do you do but eat and not breathe? That's the game. And within minutes, she comes over, we talked to her, I said, what happened? I mean, it was 1 meal, 2 meals, Shabbos alone? Second day's Yontif? A Jewish grandmother should sit alone for Yontif? And she says, no, the kids were busy and it was supposed to be here and I was supposed to be there and they're good kids, they just forgot. It just didn't work out this year. So she turned to me and said probably one of the greatest lines I've ever heard. She goes, you know, sometimes the people that are the easiest to forget are the ones that are always there. It's easy to forget our parents because they're always there for us. So we call once and they're like, wow, we feel like the best children because we call them once. It's easy to forget people that are always there for us. Every time we call our grandparents, they'll always be happy, so we forget. We'll daven when we get into it because Hashem's always there. The reason why Hatzalah can't raise its money is because we know at our hearts they're always there. We know their number by heart. It's in all our high school tests. Everyone's got the red sticker in the cabinet, and we know whether we pay for it or not, God forbid, we should never need them, but if we do, they're there. And so many other things get in our way of realizing that. The people that we always forget are the ones that are there. And so I saw a stat on the way over here that 65% of our community has not given anything to Hatzalah this year. 100% are covered. But they'll be there no matter what, so. But this is where we change it. And this is why you're here. I'm preaching to the choir. Our job, our goal, our mission is to make sure the members realize just how much we appreciate them. Where we sometimes have to do it ourselves a little bit also. Do something uncomfortable and give a little bit more. So maybe we can't do what they do, but we can make them feel like they have what they need to help us, which is a crazy concept. And that's why we're here. To support them, most importantly, to thank them and to give them the resources that they need to make sure they can continue to do the job they do, which is to protect ourselves, to help us, and to continue to take care of each other, which is hopefully what will get us to the next level. And we should be zocheh together to be at a dinner where we retire the last van and live at a time where there's no more pain and no more suffering. And Mirz Hashem together, amen.